President Trump officially has pardoned disgraced ex-Illinois Governor Rod Blagojevich.
My honor to do it. I've watched him. He was set up by a lot of bad people, some of the same people that I had to deal with.
Blagojevich served 8 years in prison after his 2011 convictions on charges that included seeking to sell an appointment to then-President Barack Obama's old Senate seat and trying to shake down a children's hospital. Coming up, a look at the snow to come Tuesday and Thursday. KSL weather is next. Stay here. KSL News Time 6:02.
Hey Utah, it's the water boy here, Colson Firmage, a third-generation Culligan man. Does your water taste bad, musty, salty, or bitter? Well, say hello to the cleanest, pure-tasting water in Utah, Culligan water. Imagine having crisp, pure water delivered right to your doorstep. No more heavy lifting, no more last-minute store runs, just fresh, great-tasting water for you and your family. Culligan offers flexible delivery schedules to fit your lifestyle. Whether you need a few bottles or a full supply, we've got you covered. Join thousands of satisfied customers who trust Culligan for all their water needs. Our bottled water delivery is perfect for drinking, cooking, and keeping your family hydrated and happy. If you're worried about your water, get a free consultation. Call Culligan Water today at 801-509-9686. That's 801-509-9686. Or visit us online at culliganslc.com to start your delivery service today. Enjoy the convenience and taste the difference with Culligan. Culligan, water you love.
Advance your career at the USU Salt Lake Center Leadership Luncheon on February 13th. Accelerate your future, network with others, and gain critical leadership insights provided by the esteemed Utah State Executive MBA faculty and others. Guest speaker Scott Hammond, a professor at the John M. Huntsman School of Business at Utah State University and an award-winning author and teacher, will inspire you and share how to build a culture of high reliability and lower stress. You've heard him on KSL News Radio. Now come meet him in person for an engaging discussion and quality learning experience. This event is free and includes a delicious lunch from Cafe Rio. Don't miss this opportunity to gain new business leadership skills to advance within your company, make a career change, start a new business, or achieve a life goal. Advance your career at the USU Salt Lake Center, 920 West Lavoie Drive in Taylorsville, February 13th at 11:30 a.m. Get info on the events calendar at utahstatemba.com. That's utahstatemba.com. Brought to you by the Utah State Executive and Online MBA.
If you're turning 65, new to Medicare, or recently moved, a Humana Medicare Advantage plan might be a great fit for you. You could get a plan with a $0 premium, like our Humana Medicare Advantage PPO plan. Plus, all our plans have a yearly cap on your out-of-pocket costs. That means your covered medical costs, including all doctor visits and emergency care, will never go above a maximum out-of-pocket amount that you know beforehand. You can even get prescription drug coverage on some plans, all for a $0 premium each month. All of this can make a difference for your health and your wallet. Make the most of each day by choosing a Medicare Advantage PPO plan that puts you first. Learn more at gethumana.com. Humana, a more human way to healthcare. Humana is a Medicare Advantage PPO organization with a Medicare contract. Enrollment in any Humana plan depends on contract renewal.
You bought a house, or maybe you're building one, but it just isn't feeling like home. Not yet. AMC Building Materials has this undeniable knack for transforming a house into a home, your home. How do they do that? They combine years of exceptional kitchen and bath creations with your ideas. In fact, customer satisfaction is their #1 priority. You know what you want. You know it's not going to be cookie cutter, and this is exactly where AMC shines. AMC delivers exceptional quality, bold-style kitchen and bath designs, along with their exceptional value and a timeline you'll love. Most projects are complete by the elite AMC professional installers in under 10 days. Immerse yourself in the beauty, function, and feel in person at the AMC Building Materials showroom in Salt Lake City. Get directions and schedule your free estimate at amckitchenslc.org. AMC Building Materials, transforming your house into a home. amckitchenslc.org.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Here's Ricky Meese.
A listener in Utah County giving us a heads up of a crash at Center Street and 200 West in Orem, creating delays. And we still have a slow ride southbound I-15 from the South Interchange to Bangerter Highway and Draper. Lagoon is hiring full-time year-round ride maintenance technicians and electricians with journeyman or apprentice-level experience. Apply online at lagoonpark.com/jobs. Must be 18 years of age or older to apply. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL weather forecast 23 degrees for the overnight low. Possible flurries tomorrow and 34, but the real snow comes Thursday afternoon into Friday. Kevin Eubank says it will accumulate before changing to rain on Friday by the afternoon. Right now in Salt Lake City, 36 degrees. I'm Jeff Kaplan, KSL News Radio, 102.7 FM, 1160 AM, KSLNewsRadio.com.
The following is a presentation of KSL Sports. Hello, Cougar Nation.
Top of the key, triple. Richie Saunders, fourth three-pointer of the night. Massive make.
Every Monday night, we break down the Cougars' last game and look ahead to next week. Cougar Nation, brought to you by Central Bank. Here's BYU insider Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte on Utah's legacy home of the Cougars. KSL News Radio.
Good evening, Cougar Nation. Welcome on into your show. We're opening the phone lines, 801-575-8255, talking BYU basketball over the next hour. Maybe we'll sprinkle in some Super Bowl talk for Jeff, who's celebrating the Eagles championship. They're riding high after taking down Andy Reid's Kansas City Chiefs. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you over the next hour. And Matt, BYU basketball, they need to find some answers. Maybe we can give some over the next hour.
Yeah, that was a tough two-game stretch with losses to Arizona. And look, that was dare I say, a good loss. I mean, Arizona's a good basketball team, very capable of winning the Big 12, but on the road at Cincinnati, just a complete no-show in the second half. That was tough to swallow.
84-66, BYU falls to the Bearcats in a road game against a team that BYU dominated a month ago in Provo. So a complete turn of events, a completely different outcome than what we saw in Provo last month. Let's dive into that loss at Cincinnati in our takeaways.
Cougar Nation takeaways. Mitch and Matt analyze BYU's last week of play and what it means for the next week.
All right, Mitch, let's get into our takeaways. My first takeaway is something I feel like I talk about every single week, and yet it's becoming harder and harder to not connect the dots between this stat and winning. And that is rebounding, where BYU got absolutely blasted for the second game in a row on the glass, out-rebounded by 15 against Arizona and then 15 against Cincinnati. And in both of Cincinnati's wins against BYU as conference members, they've won the rebounding battle. And it's starting to feel like if BYU rebounds well, and it is at least even, or if they win the rebounding battle, they have a great chance of winning the game. If they don't rebound well, then I feel like they have no chance to win the basketball game. 17 total rebounds, that's hard to do, Mitch. And I'm having a hard time not drawing a comparison between the 17 rebounds and maybe a lack of effort when things go south. And I don't want to point fingers because it's only a 2-game losing streak, but when you only pull down 17 rebounds is it's effort in a lot of cases. Sure, there's times where there's a long three that bounces off the rim and you can't corral it. But in a lot of cases, Mitch, it's boxing out your guy, creating the space, and pulling down the rebound. 17! That is hard to fathom. Only 17 rebounds, and they lose by double digits. I just feel like when this team rebounds well, they play better defense. It leads to better offense. But when they don't rebound well, it leaks into everything. And in that second half, they had 8 rebounds in the second half. Single-digit rebounds in the second half. 16 second-chance points for Cincinnati. To me, the game was won, and in this case, lost on the glass because they did not bring it to the rebounding game.
I can maybe excuse the number because of the hot shooting of Cincinnati, 59% from the field, 50% from three. But the offensive rebounds for BYU, only 3 offensive rebounds, and that ties in a lot to effort because BYU had its fair share of misses. Still shot the ball pretty well, 47% from the field, 34% from three. You go into any road game, you'll take those numbers and feel like you're in a position to maybe win that game. But 3 offensive rebounds for BYU was surprising, particularly with how well this team has been rebounding the basketball. So I think that's a great point about the rebounds and how that's a concerning trend, because against Arizona, they were dominated, out-rebounded by 15 in that one, and then it happened again against Cincinnati. To me, costly turnovers continue to be a takeaway for BYU. Only 12 in total, and Cincinnati had 11 as well, but it just felt like BYU's 12 were impactful. Yegor Demon had 2 turnovers, but there were moments that when his turnovers came up that they were momentum killers for BYU and opportunities to maybe cut a deficit. And BYU has got to take care of the ball better. They just have been very poor in turnover margin. They're 11th in the Big 12 in conference play in turnover margin. And when you're a team right now that it's like BYU, where you're outside of many bracket projections, you've got to value possessions and take care of the basketball. BYU's got so many great opportunities in front of them from a chance to boost their resume. But if you're actually going to win some of these games, particularly on the road, you've got to value possessions, and BYU doesn't do a good enough job of that consistently. And that, to me, becomes a growing concern for BYU moving forward.
I like that point a lot. Another takeaway I had, Mitch, was BYU desperately, BYU needs the scoring from Trevenel in both losses against Arizona. Trevenel only had 4 points, and against Cincinnati, he only had 3 points. A couple weeks ago, people were making fun of me, thinking I was crazy for calling this guy an X Factor, and yet in these 2 losses, he's nowhere to be found. And I don't know if that is offensively they're having a hard time getting his shots. Perhaps defensively they're doing a great job of taking him away. But it's become evident to me that BYU needs his scoring to be a good basketball team. You can't have 3 and 4 from a guy who is one of the best career three-point shooters this school has ever seen. You need his attempts up, and you need makes from Trevenel, because that's his specialty. He's supposed to complement Yegor Demon. And if he's not getting the volume of attempts, and if he's not making 3, 4, 5 threes, this offense, it doesn't flow as well. That, to me, that is just obvious. And you look at those box scores from Trevin, just not making an impact. And I guess you got to credit the defenses for taking him out of the game. But this coaching staff and this group of players, they've got to find a way to get him the shots. 1 of 3 against Arizona. That's just not enough attempts. 1 of 3 against Cincinnati. It's not enough for a guy who is a great three-point shooter, highly accurate, makes a lot of threes. He's going to be a top 10 three-point shooter this school's ever seen. Get Trevenel involved at any cost.
And his one make was the opening shot of the game. And you're right. I mean, Trevenel has got to be a key factor. BYU's quad 1 road victory at UCF, BYU had 4 players in double figures. Just only having Richie Saunders and Yegor Demon in double figures is not going to be enough for the Cougars. I'll go a little bit different direction, too. I think another takeaway is that BYU's defense is having some real issues. They've given up more than 80 points in 3 of the last 4 games. This was head coach Kevin Young earlier today on his thoughts on the recent defensive struggles, and this thing can get fixed on the defensive end.
I think, one, it's playing really good teams that are hard to guard. Number 2, a lot of that is self-inflicted. We're turning the ball over too much. We're giving up too many offensive rebounds. I think on the whole, our half-court defense hasn't been bad. It's just self-inflicted. As it relates to Cincinnati, they hit an astronomical amount of tough shots, long twos, mid-paint shots that don't, for them and for every team historically don't go in. I think they were 12-18. But we got to adjust. We didn't do a good enough job adjusting in the game. But I think on the whole, our defense definitely needs to get better. But a lot of it, in my mind, is coming out of areas that aren't necessarily defensive related in terms of not turning the basketball over, and then obviously finishing out possessions with rebounding.
I buy some of that commentary from Coach Kevin Young, because we've hit on the rebounds and the turnovers. You clean up some of those areas, I think BYU's defensive effort is going to look a lot better.
And I don't think that, though, when you're not rebounding well and you do have the turnovers, I think it impacts the defense. I just think it's human nature, Mitch, where if you're getting killed on the glass and you're turning it over, is your energy as high as it needs to be to get stops? I don't think it has been during this 2-game losing streak. And I think if they can correct those things, it'll directly impact their ability to just be energetic and fight through the difficulties on the defensive end. It's all tied together. I think that's why we love basketball. The defensive end impacts the offensive end and vice versa, and if one side is struggling, it leaks onto the other. We've seen that during the loss, and they got to figure it out quick.
801-575-8255. What does BYU need to do differently to end this losing streak? We want to hear from you, Cougar Nation, throughout this hour because this is your show. 801-575-8255. Answer the question or give us your scorching hot BYU basketball take. We're on the air live here over the next hour up until 7 o'clock. So we'll be taking your phone calls. But BYU's looking to end this 2-game losing streak. And, a week ago at this time, they were one of the hottest teams in college basketball. 4-game win streak. And losing will happen in this league. Some of the best teams in this conference have to navigate some losing streaks. Iowa State a week ago, they were on a 3-game skid and then had a nice bounce-back win against TCU over the weekend. Things can change in a hurry in this conference, but, Matt, it's just crazy when you think there's only 4 weeks left in the regular season, and for a team like BYU, who doesn't have much on the non-conference to point to, you have got to start piling up wins now, and that's why it feels like that loss to Cincinnati was a pretty significant one.
The margin for error is thin, Mitch, and there's a lot of difficult games coming up. This week is difficult. Kansas State at home is no gimme. West Virginia on the road is no gimme. And then looking ahead after that, Arizona and Kansas, they have to find a way to win some of these games where, at the very least, it's a toss-up. And that's what it's going to require if they're going to get to the NCAA tournament. Let's take a break, though, Mitch. We'll get to your question of the day. What does BYU need to do differently to end the losing streak on the other side? Call in 801-575-8255. Cougar Nation brought to you by Central Bank, voted best bank and mortgage in Utah Valley. Visit us online at cbutah.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I've got a deal for you on something that a lot of you probably still need to do this winter. Similar to the way auto manufacturers recommend changing your oil, furnace manufacturers recommend having your system tuned up at least once a year. Normally, we charge $124 to tune up your furnace, but not today. If you call today, Monday, February 10th, and mention you heard this ad, we'll give you $105 off and tune up your furnace for only, wait for it, $19. You won't hear this ad tomorrow, so call Any Hour right now to schedule. 801-443-7400. A furnace tune-up is the best way to extend the life of your furnace and avoid unexpected breakdowns. 801-443-7400. If it's more convenient, go to anyhourservices.com and look for the red button that says Book Online. Schedule your $19 tune-up there. That's a $124 value for only $19, if you get a hold of us today. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
This week's movie show brought to you by Sound Sleep Medical. Get a free sleep screening and a free sleep consultation by tuning in on Friday morning. Sound Sleep Medical with 7 locations in Utah.
Hey, Utah, it's the water boy, Colson Firmage here, a third-generation Culligan man. Are you tired of hard water wreaking havoc on your home? At Culligan Water, we offer top-rated water softening solutions that protect your appliances, keep your skin feeling soft, and make your water taste amazing. My grandfather started working at Culligan in Salt Lake City over 50 years ago, and Culligan is your trusted local water expert. Some would say we're the godfather of water systems. Do you know if your old water system is even running correctly? Give us a call today and schedule a free water test of your current system, any make or model. Just give us a call at 801-509-9602 or visit us online at culliganslc.com. In addition, receive $500 off a water softener, plus get free salt delivery for a year. Again, that's $500 off a water softener, plus get free salt delivery for a year. Enjoy cleaner, softer water and experience the Culligan difference. Call 801-509-9602 or visit us online at culliganslc.com. Culligan, water you love.
It doesn't matter if your only neighbors are wildlife or just wild in general. If you work from home or work is technically at home? Every homeowner can save money by getting a ThermWise home energy plan from Enbridge Gas. Discover ways to make your home more energy efficient and apply for rebates if you purchase any energy-efficient appliances. Schedule a home energy plan from Enbridge Gas at thermwise.com.
Do you know the secret to losing up to 1 pound of fat every day? At Salt Lake City Fat Loss, we know the secret. Our doctor-developed, easy-to-follow weight loss program helps you lose weight fast, naturally, and safely with no drugs or injections. No prepackaged meals, bars, shakes, or exercising required. Our program helps reset your metabolism so you can lose weight quickly and keep the weight off for good with an easy-to-follow maintenance plan that includes ongoing personal support. And our program costs half as much and works up to twice as fast than most other programs. Go to slcfatloss.com to schedule your free consultation now.
I'm Maria Chaleos. When you're looking for a healthy way to lose weight fast, Salt Lake City Fat Loss is the answer. Right now, you can save $200 with their New Year's special. Learn more at slcfatloss.com.
Many clients lose 20 to 30 pounds in about a month or two. That's up to a pound per day. Schedule your free consultation now at slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com. Results may vary.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one?
We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery?
We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Febreze.
It's a classic odor tale. You fried fish for dinner, cleaned up, but the smell is still in the house. And the neighbors are coming over for game night. They're on their way. And then you spray Febreze Air Mist. Febreze Air starts working instantly to fight even your toughest odors, so you go from fish to fresh like that. Now all you have to worry about is Pam cheating at charades.
Breathe happy, Febreze, la 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 la.
How many things affect your life as much as slow traffic and bad weather? Listen tomorrow morning for traffic and weather together every 10 minutes on the 9s on KSL News Radio.
Welcome back into Cougar Nation. It's your show, Cougar Nation. 801-575-8255. Load up the phone lines. And it's been funny. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you. People saying jokes on social media. Oh, now it's college basketball season. We've been holding it down every single Monday night since the football season for college football ended. So we've been neck deep in BYU basketball and Big 12 basketball for weeks. But for the people now getting up to speed, Matt, and now that the Super Bowl is over, did you watch that Super Bowl last night as the Eagles took down Andy Reid's Kansas City Chiefs?
I watched the first half, and then I said, forget this. I'm not watching any more of this. And it just got worse in the third quarter. That was one of the most shocking outcomes I've ever seen in the Super Bowl. Not that Philadelphia wasn't capable. They're super talented. But Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have built up this reputation where you felt like they'd find a way at some point, right? They never found a way. Like, it was, 34-0 at one point? Like, geez, that's one of the most lopsided Super Bowls I've seen in a long time.
I agree. I was stunned at how much struggle that Patrick Mahomes had to experience. And just to see Andy Reid, it seemed like he always has an answer. Yep. And, I wasn't pulling for the Chiefs. I'll admit I was kind of getting tired of their dynasty. But so I was pulling for the Eagles, and I'm happy that they got their second title in I think 7 years now. But how it played out. And I think the whole game, the commercials were lame. The halftime wasn't terrible, but it wasn't great. Just the whole Super Bowl event I thought was subpar. I just wasn't impressed with it. The score bug was underwhelming.
The score bug was one of the worst parts of the whole event. That was horrible.
The score bug, everything was just subpar, I thought.
That was Tom Brady. Subpar?
Yeah, there wasn't. Other than his jab at Kevin Hart, I wasn't. I didn't come away feeling like he's worth all the money that Fox is paying him. But anyway, football season is now over. So
don't say it, Mitch. I can't believe it. When does spring ball start?
February 27th.
Okay, we don't have to. All right.
If things really go south here for BYU basketball, we can maybe get in some spring football, Cougar Nations. But you know what, Matt? I don't think it's going to go completely south for this BYU basketball team, and we're asking Cougar Nation, what does BYU Hoops need to do differently to end this 2-game losing streak that they're on? What say you? What do you think needs to be done to get things right for the Cougars on the hardwood?
I've got two things, but my hottest take, because, look, we want to hear from BYU fans. What do they need to do differently, which we're discussing now, 801-575-8255. But you can also just pipe off some scorching hot take. And my hot take is I think BYU needs to start Dallin Hall. And he needs to return to the point guard role. I think you still start Demon, but you slide him over to 2. And Demon's been shooting the ball better of late, and his attempts are up. He's shooting it a lot more than Dallin Hall is. And I just feel like Dallin Hall takes care of the ball better. You can't even argue that fact. If you look at the total assist and total turnovers, Hall's assist-to-turnover ratio is much better than Demon's. And I feel like get Hall back in at point guard, play him more minutes, let him run the show. That's not to say Yegor won't have his moments where he's running actions as well, but I think let's see what this team could look like if Hall is running the show as the primary point guard.
Yegor Demon, though, is number 1 in assist rate in the Big 12 through in conference play in assist rate. And then Dallin Hall is not far off at 17th, but Yegor's still dishing the rock at a high clip, Matt.
Not of late, though. That's the problem. Like, if you look at the Arizona and Cincinnati games, Yegor's had more turnovers than assists during those losing streaks, and that seems to be the theme in the losses, where Yegor is turning it over too much, and the assists aren't there. And Hall, look, I don't think he was super impactful against Cincinnati. Don't get it twisted here, but 3 assists, 1 turnover. Have you seen a game where Hall is just coughing it up left and right? He's taking care of the ball, and right now this team needs to value possessions. We heard it from Kevin Young.
Yep.
Too many turnovers. So I'm not saying don't play Yegor. I think Yegor is actually playing some good basketball. I'm just wondering, does he need to be more in a shooting guard role, get up those 13 to 15 attempts that we've been seeing, and have Dallin Hall kind of run the action? And the thing that we have not seen yet this season is Hall and Yegor kind of running the actions. There's too much my turn, your turn. Where are they both getting involved in multiple situations? I don't know. It's a hot take, Mitch, but I'd like to see what Hall could do having the ball a little bit more in his hands.
Yeah, Dallin Hall's season high in Big 12 play for minutes was 34 against Utah. He had 0 turnovers in that game. His high for turnovers in a game in Big 12 is 3. So he's done a nice job taking care of the basketball. I will say for BYU to in this losing streak, don't let opponents have career nights. Jizzle James, Jamiron Keller. That list continues to grow over the years of guys that just become BYU killers. That was Jizzle James on Saturday for Cincinnati, as he was 1 point shy of a career high. He had 24 points, knocked down a career high 6 threes. It just seems like there's always guys that are always a thorn in BYU's side. Don't allow that to happen. If teams just go for their standard production, so be it. But don't let someone have a career night on you. I like BYU's chances of taking down some of these teams if you're not just getting these superhuman performances from some of these opponents.
That's a good point. I'd also add quickly too, I think they got to tighten the rotation. In this Cincinnati game, they were desperate. They were pulling for straws, but does this have an 8-man group that you feel comfortable night in and night out? I just feel like the second unit, Mitch, you never know who's going to be hot and who you can rely on, and that's hard.
We got to take a break. On the other side, we'll get to some of your phone calls. We know we've got Linda on the line. We'll get to your call, Linda, and then some more of your phone calls. 801-575-8255. What does BYU need to do differently to end this 2-game losing streak and get back on the right side of the bubble, because we're only 4 weeks away till this regular season is over. They got to start piling up the wins. Mitch Harper, Matt Baiamonte with you here on Cougar Nation, right here on KSL.
Good evening, 6:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Jeff Kaplan. KSL's top local story this hour. Utah's legislature is looking to give high school students more hands-on career training so they can join the workforce right after graduation.
House Speaker Mike Schultz introduced a bill today that would provide grants to expand or create so-called catalyst centers. These provide real-world learning experiences for students who want to go into technical careers, things like medical assisting, drones, or graphic design.
We need
these types of skills to be taught in our high schools, and they're super important.
He says they're modeling it after the Davis Catalyst Center, which he visited recently.
And I saw kids working on projects. I saw industry inside of there.
Schultz says these types of programs also lead to 11% higher graduation rates. It was passed unanimously by the House Education Committee. Heather Peterson, KSL News Radio.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The Trump administration has appealed a judge's ruling that found the White House didn't follow his order to unfreeze federal spending. The order was they must release billions of dollars in funding. The administration quickly appealed the ruling to the First Circuit Court of Appeals. The U.S. District Judge is the first judge to find that the administration disobeyed a court order. Coming up, we have snow in the forecast. I mean, real snow. KSL weather is next. Stay here. KSL News Time, 6:31.
Take advantage of Yes Heating, Air Conditioning, Plumbing, and Electric's $99 or it's free mainline drain clearing special. That's right, $99 or it's free. Feel secure knowing the trusted professionals at Yes guarantee that if we can't clear it, you don't pay for it. Whether it's a small clog or a larger mainline sewer drain issue, the experienced technicians at Yes are ready to solve all of your drain problems. Call now or visit theyesmancan.com for details, terms, and conditions.
For over 133 years, Central Bank has been a cornerstone of Utah County, providing generations of families and businesses with trusted community banking services and are more than just a bank. Central Bank is part of Utah's legacy. With 12 convenient locations across Utah County, Central Bank combines the strength of traditional customer service with the convenience of modern technology. Customized one-to-one service means you're never just another account number, and your phone call actually rings to a real person.
Hi there, thanks for calling Central Bank.
Voted best bank and best mortgage in Utah Valley, Central Bank is here to help you with all your financial needs. From top SBA lending services for small businesses and quick turnaround times on construction loans. They're dedicated to helping you build your future. Whether you're cheering for the Cougars or building your dream home, trust the bank that's been here since the beginning. Central Bank, strong, local, secure since 1891. Online at cbutah.com or any of 12 Utah County locations. Central Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
My friends swim no matter the season, but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can sometimes take me out of the moment. Now, thanks to Skyrizi and clear skin, count me in. With Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor today about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis, and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
More than 50 million Americans suffer from a form of mental illness, and Utah isn't immune.
With nearly 1 in 3 people dealing with anxiety, depression, or some other form of mental illness.
But there's hope. We can all take action to keep ourselves and our loved ones safe. KSL has teamed with 988 Utah, the free suicide and crisis lifeline, to bring you hope and help you thrive.
If you or a loved one is experiencing a mental health crisis, call or text 988.
Because a healthy mind matters.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's limited time balance transfer bonus. Here's Ricky Meese.
We still have just a little bit of leftover heavy and slow traffic, and this is going to be on southbound I-15. It's mostly going through the Sandy area, but there is an accident at the South Interchange in Murray. It's been moved over to the right shoulder. The final cleanup of a crash, I-215's west belt near California Avenue. It's been out of traffic the entire night. The rest of the Valley freeways are seeing a delay-free drive. Keep that big event energy big. Take UTA and skip the parking lot. Plan your trip at rideuta.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
The KSL weather forecast down to 23 overnight. Flurries and 34 for tomorrow. It is possible we'll see real snow accumulating Thursday afternoon into Friday. Right now, 34 degrees. I'm Jeff Kaplan. We're streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com. This is Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Be ready for BYU Game Day. Download the KSL News Radio app to stream BYU games, plus breaking news during the week. That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Welcome back into Cougar Nation here on KSL News Radio. Mitch Harper and Matt Baiamonte with you. Talking BYU hoops, and we're taking your phone calls, 801-575-8255. Let's get out to the phone line. Welcome in Linda. And Linda, let's hear your hottest BYU basketball take. Go ahead.
I thought that the first half was better than the second half. The second half was terrible. And I know that there was a time that Dallin was missing. He missed a few shots on the second half when he was trying to shoot.
Yeah, you're right. The second half was terrible, Linda. And what do they have to do differently, though, Linda? What would you like to see from this team?
I'd like to maybe I'm just trying to think if another rotation would help. But I know Trevin's been really good, but it's just like on the road we tend to freeze up sometimes, and a lot of the time, and I just feel like we've got to get something better, and maybe Coach Young just needs to rotate more players.
Thanks for the call, Linda. Appreciate that.
I like the point of the rotation, Mitch, because I just feel like, man, honestly, answer this question. Who are the top 7? Who are the top 8? Like, who's filling what roles? Do you feel like you have a good sense of that? We're 2/3 of the way through the season.
A clear top 7 or 8? No, I don't feel like it's clear, no.
The best teams in college basketball, the teams that make deep runs, by and large, they have that figured out. Now, there's still a little bit of time to figure it out, but, man, you look at the box score from that Cincy game, you're given 9 minutes to Boscovich, and he doesn't even play every night. Trey Stewart, he got 9 minutes, and look, they were good minutes. I'm not discounting those minutes. I'm just saying, are they now going to become a part of the 8? Like, I just feel like, man, you got to know as a player what your role is going to be if you're going to be consistent. And you look up and down this roster, there's a lot of undefined roles. Like, Richie knows what he's doing. Keba knows what he's doing. I think Yegor's got a defined role. Trevinell's got a defined role. That's 4 players. But after that, like, there's a lot of who's got it on this night, who's got it on that night, and that doesn't breed consistency, Mitch. That breeds bust-out performances like we had from Cannon Catchings in the win against Baylor, but it also leads to performances like this where you don't know where to go. And there's just too many stretches in these games where when you don't know where to go, you don't know what lineup to use, which guys can create and be a go-to player in a tough moment. That's what happens when you don't have that 7-8 minute stretches where Cincinnati started the half, 22-2? And by that point, the game was over because the hole was too deep. So I'd love to Linda's point, we don't know what the rotation is, quite frankly, the top 8. And I'd like to see that solidified so that these role players, when they come in, they can expect I'm playing X number of minutes, and this is what I need to do. And I just don't know if that exists right now off the bench, and I think that's hard because sometimes guys pop off and have big games, but other times they don't. And during this losing streak, we just have not seen that pop from the role guys.
Let's dive right in a little bit further into these rotations and some of these players and what's trending up and trending down.
Cougar Nation, trending. What's trending up and what's trending down this season?
Those are some good points, Matt. And you brought up 2 interesting names that Cougar fans haven't heard much of this year. That's Mihailo Boscovich. And I will say, those minutes that he gave and really throughout Big 12 play, the seldom opportunities he gets, Colorado game in Boulder, Cincinnati, he rolls out almost in a, as Kevin Young pointed out in the post game, on the radio post game, it was an emergency situation. They were down and out. They needed some spark. hey, Mihailo, go out there. Let's see what you got. And he's not shy about getting wound up. In the words of Kevin Young, wind him up. He'll fire off some shots. And I thought he looked pretty good. And I think he's done a nice job in his limited opportunities this season. He was +4 in his plus-minus, one of the few players in this game against Cincinnati that had a positive plus-minus. 8 points, 3 of 6 from the field, 2 3-pointers. First time since Thanksgiving against Ole Miss where Mihailo hit 2 threes. This was Kevin Young on Mihailo earlier today about maybe if he could see more time going forward.
Mihailo's a guy who I've been wanting to get more minutes for. It's been tricky, given the other guys that are out there and have been playing well, but he's somebody that, I do want to get more minutes for. As it relates to Trey, he's a guy a lot like Mawood that can come in and, guard other teams' best players.
That last point that Kevin Young made was about Trey Stewart. But Mihailo, let me ask you this, Matt. Should BYU give him more minutes, maybe in, say, Foos's minutes as a 5, backup 5 to Keba Keita?
I'm not opposed to it because Mihailo is much taller than Foos. Now, Foos has a really long wingspan, but Mihailo offers you something that maybe this group of players needs, which is a little stretch 4, someone who can make an outside shot, because you don't get that from Keba Keita and you don't get that from Foos. Foos is a great low post presence, but there's no perimeter shooting from either guy. You get that from Boscovich. I'm not opposed to it. It's just I'd like to see him, hey, we're going to give you 12 minutes a game. Here's the 12.
Yeah.
And let's see what happens. You can't have emergency situations all the time where we're seeing what guys can do.
You wonder, too, when it comes to Boscovich and Foos, Foos is done after this year. And look, Foos is going to be remembered in high regard by BYU fans no matter what happens to close out this season. He was a BYU guy, 4 straight years. That's rare these days in college basketball. But if you get some positive momentum with Mihailo down the stretch, maybe that's something you can build off of going into next season potentially. I mean, again, you can't assume with anyone that you can't just write them down in Sharpie, oh, this guy's back, because you just never know. But maybe that's something that has to be considered here, that long-term, Mihailo, if, he's got eligibility still after this year, he's a junior, and maybe that's something that has to factor into the equation because Foos has struggled at times, and some of his moves feel like it's been figured out by some of these Big 12 front courts. It's tough because Foos is a veteran, and when he does create that space, he's one of the most efficient scorers in the post in the league, and he's so strong. But Mihailo just gives you a little bit of a different dimension, and his ability to knock down threes is a welcomed, I think, addition at times because then you got 5 guys on the court that can knock down the 3 ball.
I don't hate that, Mitch. My trending up is someone Kevin Young just mentioned, and you mentioned as well, Trey Stewart. I thought those were some good minutes where he was impactful on both sides of the floor. And you have to wonder, too, does he deserve some minutes here to see what he can do? Because in some of these stretches, we've heard Dallin Hall talk about this. He mentioned this after the Arizona loss. When things aren't going their way offensively, that can tend to leak over to the defensive effort. I felt like that happened against Cincinnati again, where the shots weren't falling in the second half, and then the effort wasn't there defensively, and then Jizzle James is cooking and baking, and next thing you know, you're down double digits. The thing I love about Trey is you know what he is, and the elite skill set that I think Trey has is the same one that Richie has. There's not different speeds to these players. They're all go. It's all gas. You're going to get the effort. He's going to be diving for balls. He's going to be crashing the glass. And honestly, I think you need some of that around a Yegor Demon, a Richie Saunders, a Trevin Nell. Not everyone is wired that way. And if you have someone like Trey in your back pocket who you can throw on a Jizzle James, maybe he should have been thrown on him sooner. Pick him up full court press. I love that Trey is always going to bring the effort, and he's going to lock people down, and there is a place for that, and I wonder if that's something they need to explore a little bit more.
In the 2 Big 12 games where he has received more than 5 minutes in Big 12 play, UCF and Cincinnati, he had 8 minutes against UCF, 9 minutes against Cincy. I thought those were both, impactful stretches where he played. And so you're right. I think that his minutes that he has provided, still limited, have been impactful for BYU in Big 12 play. real quick before we get to a break, trending down. We talked about it a lot, but for me, it's just the rebounding. I'm just surprised at this point, beyond midway in Big 12 play, that this team's having issues on the glass, because I thought this was something they could hang their hat on. On the road, they'd be an excellent rebounding team. That hasn't shown up. Keba Keita only had 3 boards against Cincinnati. He's got to get back to being that, 9, 10, 11 rebound guy per night if they're going to win games on the road.
3 weeks ago, Mitch, they were top 10 in rebounding margin. They're down to 173rd.
Yeah.
Think about that. Talk about a slip.
That's a telling stat.
In rebounding margin. Wow. For me, it's defensive effort. I just think their defensive effort right now is predicated on if things are working offensively, and that can't be the case. They've got to fight through those frustrations offensively.
Cougar Nation, sponsored by Central Bank, voted best bank and mortgage in Utah Valley. Visit us online at cbutah.com. Last chance to get on board with us, 801-575-8255. You can answer the question, what does BYU need to do differently to end the losing streak? Maybe share your thoughts on the BYU-West Virginia game as well. We're going to preview that matchup between the Cougars and Mountaineers next, right here on Cougar Nation.
Bish's is skipping this year's big RV show for a big reason. It costs each dealer a fortune, and guess who gets stuck with the bill? Yep, you. So skip the big show expense and come to the Bish's RV Better Than Show Pricing on-site event, February 13th through the 15th at Bish's RV of Salt Lake and American Fork. You'll get free admission, free parking, and Better Than Show pricing on our entire inventory at both locations. Not just a few models we hauled to the show. Find pricing starting as low as $139 per month on approved credit, and make 0 payments until May OAC. Plus, every remaining new 2024 on the lot is on clearance. And Bish's is the only place to shop the exclusive full lineup of Wayfinder RVs. Start shopping the best deals now at skipthervshow.com. Get free admission to the Better Than Show Pricing on-site event, February 13th through the 15th at Bish's RV in Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin. OAC, based on 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock numbers 84832, 84308. Subject to prior sale. See dealer details. Deal number 822B426B.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're staying, you may be overpaying. Here's how to get the same fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Switch to Consumer Cellular. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. Our U.S.-based experts will get you switched and saving in about 20 minutes. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com and start saving today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. An important message about your timeshare from Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group.
If you receive an unsolicited phone call or mail piece to discuss selling, renting, or especially canceling your timeshare, don't fall for it. Contact your timeshare resort or Wesley Financial Group for assistance, and I'll send you our timeshare exit information kit free with the straight facts about timeshare cancellation.
Call 800-292-7788. 800-292-7788.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and I've got a deal for you on something that a lot of you probably still need to do this winter. Similar to the way auto manufacturers recommend changing your oil, furnace manufacturers recommend having your system tuned up at least once a year. Normally, we charge $124 to tune up your furnace, but not today. If you call today, Monday, February 10th, and mention you heard this ad, we'll give you $105 off and tune up your furnace for only, wait for it, $19. You won't hear this ad tomorrow, so call Any Hour right now to schedule. 801-443-7400. A furnace tune-up is the best way to extend the life of your furnace and avoid unexpected breakdowns. 801-443-7400. If it's more convenient, go to anyhourservices.com and look for the red button that says Book Online. Schedule your $19 tune-up there. That's a $124 value for only $19 if you get a hold of us today. Call Any Hour Services right now at 801-443-7400. Google Any Hour Services or schedule online at anyhourservices.com.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter?
Right? And the best part? They accept Discover.
Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today? I think my battery's dead. With free battery testing and charging, we can help you get back on the road.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
So what if I need a new one? We have the right Duralast battery for you, only at AutoZone.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
And what about my old battery? We can recycle it right here at America's #1 battery destination.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
Cougar fans, use this radio station tomorrow morning for important news updates. Listen to Utah's most important radio station tomorrow morning from 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
Last segment of the show, Cougar Nation breaking down the loss against Cincy, which, Mitch, I think we've broke that one down enough.
Yes.
So let's turn the page to West Virginia, but we'll still take your calls. 801-575-8255. What do they need to do differently to end the losing streak tomorrow, which is a 5 p.m. tip-off? You can watch it on CBS Sports Network. And as always, you can listen to the Cougs right here on the Legacy home, KSL News Radio. I was looking at the box score. So BYU won this game, and this kind of felt like a bit of a turning point last year, that win in Morgantown. Foose had a big game. I thought it was noteworthy, though, Mitch, in that win, they had 48 in the second half. They only played 8 players. And Tiki only saw like 4 minutes. So really they only played 7 players in that win against Morgantown. I just thought that was interesting when contrasting that against this year's team where it feels like they're north of 10 every single game. They're playing more than 10 guys. Only 7 guys, meaningful minutes in the win last year at Morgantown.
West Virginia has the best defense in the Big 12, at least in terms of, or second best defense behind Houston in terms of scoring margin. The lowest scoring offense. They are a slower paced team. So the up and down tempo that BYU has experienced in recent games.
You said this about Cincy on Cougar Sports Saturday, low-scoring team.
I know. Cincinnati was the worst offense in the Big 12, and then they just lit it up with Jizzle James and Day Thomas, the best names in the Big 12. But I do believe West Virginia, this is kind of their identity where, they are going to be a slower-paced team. Now, West Virginia has an outstanding guard who BYU, some of the returning players like Dallin Hall, Trevin Nell, they've gotten a taste of this guy before in the past, or experienced this guy rather. Javon Small, excellent player.
The Oklahoma State guy?
Yes, he is back with West Virginia now. And last season, remember, he put up 24 points per game in the 2 games against BYU. He had a 34-point game in Provo, and he had a 14-point game in Stillwater. Javon Small is probably the best player in the Big 12 this season. I think he's the Big 12 player of the year. He's been outstanding.
What? You think?
I really believe so. I think he should get National Player of the Year consideration. He has been elite. Against Utah on Saturday, he was more of a facilitator, had 8 assists. He made 14 points on 5 shots. He was getting to the foul line quite a bit. He has an ability to draw fouls, too. So Javon Small, excellent player. BYU has got to find a way to cause turnovers on him, make sure that he's not as efficient of a player as he has been. He has had some big games this season. They are without their, maybe one of their top players, too, Tucker DeVries, the head coach's son. He's been ruled out since November. He's out for the remainder of the season with a shoulder injury. They're hoping to get him back for a medical redshirt next year. But this is a really good West Virginia team who has wins at Kansas. They took down Iowa State. They have a win over Arizona. That was a non-conference game in the Bahamas. So, West Virginia's knocked off the best teams in this league, and they're on their home floor. It's going to be a tough game for BYU.
This is a critical week, Mitch. The NCAA tournament will be secured or lost this week, in my opinion. They're currently 6-6, and you look ahead. Kansas at home, that's winnable. On the road to Arizona, tough. I'm talking next week. After that, you got Arizona State, West Virginia again, on the road at Iowa State, and then you got Utah at the end of the year at home. You got to get to at least, in my opinion, 10. So you got to go 4-4 in the next 8 games. And I don't see them doing that if they don't win at least one game this week. Now, if you're able to get a win against West Virginia on the road, very nice win, and then come back and beat Kansas State, which is one of the top performing teams in the conference right now. Record-wise, they're not near the top, but they're also at 6-6, I believe, in conference play. So they're climbing the standings as well. The Wildcats, you get these two, they're not freebies by any stretch of the imagination. Tough games, as you've laid out. This West Virginia team is good defensively, good point guard. You find a way to win these, and you get to 8-6 by the end of the week, I think you're in a really good shot. ESPN has them right now at about a 70% chance to make the tournament. They think that their analytical performances are better than the record indicates, and I think we'll kind of find that out by the end of the week, Mitch.
Well, and you compare BYU to some of these bubble teams. I'm watching one right now, North Carolina at Clemson. Carolina's getting hammered. BYU's a good team, and they've shown they can compete against some of the best teams in the Big 12. It's just, putting it together every single night. Let's get back out of the phone line because this is your show, Cougar Nation. John from Salt Lake. What's it going to take, John, for BYU to win tomorrow night against West Virginia?
So anytime to win basketball games, you must control the ball. You got to get the rebounds every time. You've got to get the high percentage shots. You just got to control the tempo. If you don't do that, you're going to lose games. And I think BYU's got to win the next 5, and they have to win them substantially. These bubble teams, a lot of them don't make it because they're pretty iffy.
It's a good point, and I totally agree. The rebounding, man, it is so critical because it one, provides you extra chances to score, Mitch, but 2, it also limits the other team's ability to score. Look no further than Cincinnati's 16 second chance points against BYU, despite Jizzle James. And let that be the last time we mention his name on this show, by the way. Despite his performance, you take away those 16 second chance points, it's anyone's ball game. So, yeah, I think John is dead on. You have to possess the ball, and rebounding. Rebounding is not like a shooting. Like shooting, you can control a little bit the quality of the shot, but at the end of the day, the result, it's not entirely in your hands. And you hear coaches talk about this all the time, Mitch. It's getting good looks. We can live with good looks. You can't live with being out-rebounded by 15. So I think it's a good point by John.
This is head coach Kevin Young on the morale of the team heading into tomorrow night against WVU.
We had a great practice today, and that's one thing that I really respect about this group of players is they bring it. I got on them pretty good in a film session today with things that I feel like are issues that we need to fix, most of which have nothing to do with scheme. A lot of it is just ball toughness offensively, spacing, just playing a little bit smarter on the offensive end. And then, like I said, the rebounding and the turnovers. So I think I was very impressed with the way that they responded to that meeting we had this morning. Thought we had a really good practice today, and I look forward to us being able to carry that over into the game.
Let's see if they can back it up tomorrow night. BYU, West Virginia, here on KSL, 5 p.m. tip. Great show, Matt, and we will talk to you on Saturday with Cougar Sports Saturday from noon to 3 right here on KSL. Have a great night, everyone.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's
7 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Michelle Rowe. KSL's top local story this hour. A Uintah County woman is facing child abuse charges. She's accused of putting a household cleaner in her kid's water. Investigators searched the home of Barbara Williford on Friday after they say she refused to let a social worker inside. Her daughter's school had reported she showed up frequently with an upset stomach and rash. Investigators believe Williford was putting borax in her teen daughter's water. Our top local story this hour from ABC News. A plane which crashed in Scottsdale, Arizona this afternoon had been reported by multiple sources to be owned by Motley Crue band member Vince Neil. Officials confirmed that at least one person has died after that aircraft crashed on the runway in Scottsdale Airport. The FAA said the Learjet veered off the runway and crashed into a Gulfstream jet this afternoon. Scottsdale Fire Captain David Folio.
We have 5 souls, 1 DOA, 2 immediates that have been transported to local trauma centers, 1 delayed stable to a local hospital, and this is a still active scene. We're still working on extricating 1 soul out of one of the airplanes.